Hey guys, today we're gonna figure out how to play the 5-star characters Necrologist, Brimley and Sonetto. Starting off with the character Necrologist, she is rather simple, so don't worry, this won't take too long. Her incantation number 1 is a big reason why you would play Necrologist, because yeah, it deals mental damage, but if you would rank up this incantation to level 2, it would also dispel buffs. Every single buff, for that matter, from the opponent that you use this incantation on. And that's a big part. Then I will showcase this right next turn when I'm able to upgrade this incantation, then when I will show you the text for it. Unfortunately, I can't rank it up yet. So her incantation number 2 is also, it deals a little bit less damage. It doesn't deal enough, to be honest. The number here is a little bit low, because for a one target attack you would want to deal at least 200% damage, and it doesn't do that. But it enjoys a little bit of penetration rate, still doesn't quite hold up. So this incantation is a little bit on the weaker side, honestly speaking. I can level it up right now. And there we go. Now it deals a little bit more damage, and you would dispel the buffs statuses from the target. Okay, that's a big reason why we play Necrologist, as I said. The core reason and why you would ever put her into your team is her ultimate though, because this grants a revive to your entire team and a damage dealt buff plus 30% to all of your allies. Whenever an ally would die, he would revive, and the damage dealt is increased by 30%. Both of these statuses, they last for 3 rounds. So what you would want to be able to do, best case scenario, would be to recast this ultimate one more time before these 3 rounds run out, you know, so that you constantly keep this revive function alive on your allies and make them constantly deal plus 30% damage. And that's how you play Necrologist. So let's move on to Brimley. Quick note about Necrologist is that she obviously can be played in every single team out there. She's all about the dispel of buffs from your enemies and the ability to revive your teammates. So every single team out there likes this. Her main usage is to cheese some stages, as we would call it, because, for example, there are stages with enemies that channel something, and if you now wouldn't be able to deal the required amount of damage to stop that channeling, your enemy would end the channel and unleash a devastating attack that would kill off an ally or 2, or maybe even your entire team. And you can work your way around this with Necrologist's ultimate and the revive ability. And that's like the main usage about Necrologist. Another example would be if a stage requires you to stop the enemy from using the ultimate, but you can't. And this ultimate would then again kill 1, 2 allies of yours, or even your entire team. You have now, with Necrologist, a way around this. And that's how you could beat a stage that you normally wouldn't be able to beat without Necrologist. But now let's move on to Brimley and see what this guy is all about. Now he is a pretty strong character, but very, very awkward to play correctly. And that is because you have to accumulate 3 stacks of horsemanship. And the way you do this is by using your incantation number 2. Every time you use your incantation number 2, you get a stack of horsemanship. And you have to get this all the way up to 3 stacks. Yeah, you could also rank up your incantation number 1 to also gain a stack of horsemanship, but that is actually not the recommended way. So what you want to do always is gain these stacks of horsemanship first. So let's apply the buff to ourselves to gain a stack of horsemanship first. here we go, you see this, 1 stack of horsemanship on Brimley right now. Now we will use our incantation number 2 to get another stack of this horsemanship.
All set. Onwards, boy. Charge!
And what's your wish?
And now you can see that I have 2 stacks of horsemanship, but I don't have an incantation number 2. And I don't necessarily want to do it. I could do it with a buff as well. But the next round I would need a buff. But I mean, yeah, let's do it anyways. Let's apply this. That's 3 stacks of horsemanship. And now that I have 3 stacks of horsemanship, I need to, next turn, apply the buff to one of my allies and number 2 as well. Luckily, I can do this. So, I apply the buff to my main DPS and then I use my incantation number 2 so that these 3 stacks of horsemanship then get consumed and my ally will use his incantation number 2 for free on rank 1. No,
Yes, man.
little reminder, it's always a rank 1. Incantation number 2. There we go, I applied the buff. 3 stacks of horsemanship, boom, you see, that's how it goes. So, let me tell you this one more time. You need 3 stacks of horsemanship, you accumulate those by using your incantation number 1 or a ranked up incantation number 1. After you accumulated these 3 stacks of horsemanship, you apply your incantation number 1 to your main DPS and then you use your incantation number 2 to also make your main DPS use his incantation number 2 for free on rank 1. That's how you go. Now, Brimley also has an ultimate and it does pretty much the same thing. So it deals damage to all enemies and applies reality defense minus 20% on the target for 3 rounds. But it makes the unit with the riding double status cast a rank 1 version, right? Cast a rank 1 of their incantation number 1. That's why you always want to use the buff on a main DPS and not on Brimley, because you want a character that deals damage with both of their incantations and not only with one. So how this goes is you use your incantation number 1 to apply the riding double status onto your main DPS. Then you use your ultimate, which will make it so that your main DPS will use his incantation number 1 for free. In case of your ultimate, you don't need the stacks of horsemanship at least. And you can see why Brimley is a pretty good sub DPS, because he makes your main DPS play out his incantations more than he usually would. And that increases your overall damage output from your team, obviously, by quite a bit.
Yes, man. Here to help, mate.
And that's what Brimley is all about. You play him, you use his incantations, you accumulate stacks of horsemanship, and you can see your main DPS will use his incantation number 1 and number 2 for free, while Brimley does all of his stuff, you know? So that's why he's a very, very good character and kind of a powerhouse. But he requires a good main DPS by his side, a character that deals damage with both of his incantations. And that's all about it, right? You see how this goes. You accumulate these stacks, then you use your buff, and to make your main DPS go nuts, you use then your ultimate after you applied the buff, and yeah, your main DPS will play alongside you as a sub DPS. And that's how you play Brimley, guys. I hope that was understandable. If you have any questions about it, feel free to ask me in the comment section down below and I will answer you. Little extra note for Brimley as well, he should be played in teams paired together with characters that deal reality damage, because this ultimate shreds reality defense from the opponents by 20%. So if you pair him with characters that deal reality damage, they will deal more damage. And he needs a main DPS, a character that deals damage with both of their incantations. That would be the best case scenario if you want to play Brimley efficiently. Now let's talk about Sonetto real quick. And yeah, she's pretty easy and straightforward, so don't worry about it. She has her incantation number 1 that increases the damage dealt and the penetration rate by 15% each for your entire team, and she makes it so that your entire team takes 15% less damage as well. So every time you play Sonetto, this is usually what you want to start off with. Now she has an incantation number 2 that is very underwhelming. But you have to rank this up so it evolves into a debuff incantation, and then it would add the beneficial effect of disarming your opponent. That means that, look at these indicators here above your enemy's head. There's a little sword with a white background, and that means that when it's their turn, they attack your team with a physical attack. If you disarm this enemy now with an incantation number 2 from Sonetto, then he would not perform any physical attacks to you when it's his turn. And that makes Sonetto already kind of unique, and it is a huge part of her kit and a big reason why you would play Sonetto in the first place. So always keep that in mind.
I know the moon, and this is an alien city.
And another very good part about Sonetto is that her ultimate deals a huge amount of damage. If we look at 5-star characters, her ultimate is one of the most damaging ultimates across all 5 stars, you know? Like, don't make a mistake, it's not on a level of a Buddy Fairchild or something like this, but it is very strong nonetheless in the context of 5 stars. Yeah, unfortunately I cannot show you the disarm here, because it just straight up kills the enemy. And there we have her ultimate. Now, what is special about this ultimate is that you increase this ultimate's damage by a significant margin. You always want to do this if Sonetto is or has buffs on herself, and you can provide these buffs to her very easily because she has this buff incantation with her. So make sure, you can see this even. There's an indicator. Look at this picture here of my ultimate, right? Just a normal picture, nothing to see here. But if I now use my buff incantation, then you can see this little arrow on the side here. And that means that my ultimate is now enhanced and will deal significantly more damage. It deals 100% more damage in fact, and has a huge penetration rate attached to it. Actually 30% to be precise. And that makes Sonetto's ultimate hit like a truck if we speak in the context of 5-star characters. And those are the 2 reasons why Sonetto is very great. You can use her also in every single team. Every team loves this 50% more damage, 50% less damage, the penetration rate due to her buff. And this disarm ability comes in clutch in most stages. Pretty much every single stage in this game has enemies that do physical attacks, and Sonetto can shut them down very nicely. And yeah, due to her buff and due to her good damaging ultimate, she is a very good and very viable 5-star character in this game. And there you go. That was how to play Necrologist, how to play Brimley, and how to play Sonetto. Let's talk about the best in slot Psycube for these 3 characters as well real quick. For Necrologist we have her second life, as you want to use your ultimate as much as possible to apply the damage buff and the revive effect to all of your allies, and with this Psycube, her second life, you also have a little heal attached to it. Cool. For Brimley we have the Psycube called In the Shadow coming through, because every time you use a 1 target buff incantation you increase your attack stat. and that makes you scale a little bit throughout the match, which is perfect for Brimley as he takes his time anyways due to him needing to accumulate these stacks of horsemanship. So the Psycube in the shadow is the perfect fit for him. Now for Sonetto, she doesn't really have a Psycube in this game that is absolutely crushing it for her, but Hopscotch is still the best option because for each enemy target defeated by the carrier, ultimate might plus 4%. So you increase the ultimate might for Sonetto, which is the best thing you can do for her as she's pretty much all about her high damaging ultimate ability, right? The problem is it is very slow and you do not really defeat targets with your incantations. You have a buff and you have a low damage disarm incantation. So you would only really kill enemies by using your ultimate, and that makes this really slow. But nonetheless, Hopscotch is still the best option in the game and her best in slot Psycube. I hope this video was fun and informative. If you like Reverse1999 content in general, please consider leaving a follow on my channel. I would really appreciate it. But until next time, take care of yourselves, have a great day. Don't forget to join the Discord server, and we love this game.